Welcome to 9Dots Introduction to Loops Teacher Module. The objective of this module is teachers will be able to recognize patterns to code loops. We'll be covering all you need to know to start coding loops in Pixelbot's block and in Pixelbot's JavaScript. Throughout our modules, we will be giving you opportunities to practice this new skill by completing coding challenges, as well as providing you opportunities to reflect on your learning. A loop is a block of code that repeats a sequence. They are a tool that coders use to shorten code by repeating sequences of commands. They tell the computer what to repeat and how many times to repeat it. Take, for example, a situation in which you want to listen to the same song you love multiple times. You probably wouldn't press the back button over and over, but would instead press repeat. Pressing the repeat button is like placing a loop over the song to repeat as many times as you want. Likewise, if you wanted your penguin to step, paint black 3 times to paint a short black line, you probably don't want to write out step, paint black, step, paint black, step, paint black, when you could instead write something that looks like this. Let's take a closer look. Around the code you want repeated, you have a pink loop block that begins with a number argument that tells how many times the code will be repeated, and ends with a plain pink block to show the loop's end. Inside the loop is the code you want repeated. Students will encounter loops in multiple ways. In any case, loops always do the same job. They repeat code. Let's take a look at an example. Here we have already written code for us. Let's run the code to see what happens. Clearly, something's off. It looks like all the components are there. There is a loop that repeats the step, and a paint at the end. But we need to change the argument to make the penguin step further. Let's count how many times the penguin should step. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's make the penguin repeat the step command 4 times instead of just 1. Let's press play. Looks good. Let's try another challenge. This challenge has code already written, but without a loop. I bet we can make the code shorter by looking for a pattern and placing a loop around it. This is an example of refactoring, the systematic process of improving code without changing its functionality or what it does. I like to read the code out loud to get a rhythm for the pattern. This is what we encourage students to do as well. Step, step paint black, step paint black, step paint black. Interesting. There's one block that doesn't fit into the pattern, and it's this first step. Everything else fits into the pattern of step, paint black. This happens a total of 3 times. This code achieves our challenge goal, but it could be made more readable through refactoring. To refactor our code, we'll follow a particular set of steps. First, we'll identify what should repeat, or the core. Step, paint black repeats 3 times, so that's the core of my pattern. I will click the numbers of the lines of code in the core, lines 2 and 3. Then I'll click on the loop button. Looks good, but I'm not done yet. I need to change the argument of the loop to however many times the core should repeat. which is 3. But now I have all this extra code outside of the loop. Let's delete it by either clicking the trash cans to the right of each line of code, or by clicking again on the numbers of the lines of code I do not want, and then the trash can at the top. Let's run the code to see what happens. Perfect. Had we written our code out, it would look like this. But instead, since we used a loop, it looks like this. While a few extra lines of code may not matter now, we will eventually ask students to code much larger solutions. And loops will be an excellent tool for making their code neat, organized, and easy to read. Your turn to try.